There is no good personality or bad personality. What matters is not which score is high. What matters is what you use and when you use it. After taking an egogram test, many people ask, is my personality a good one? But this question has a trap. It makes us divide personality too easily into good and bad. Torbit TA does not read people like an evaluation sheet. It looks at how the 6 ego states are distributed as energy and which energy activates first in which situation. So the important question is not, is this a good personality or a bad personality? The more important question is, which mind stands at the front in this situation, and can I use that mind in a way that fits the situation? The same ego state can be a strength in one place, but in another place it can make relationships difficult. So it is more accurate to read ego states not by judging which one is better, but by asking which force is occupying which place. The reason for marriage can become the reason for divorce. At first, the person's sociability may look attractive. The way they make people comfortable and lift the mood can feel charming. But what if, even after marriage, they're always out with other people, come home late, and even bring guests home late at night? The sociability that first seemed like a strength can, at some point, become the hardest problem. During dating, kindness and good manners may look wonderful. It can feel like the person is considerate toward you. But what if, even after marriage, they are just as kind and warm toward other people who may feel like romantic possibilities? At that point, the same kindness may no longer feel the same. During dating, spending money freely may look like a generous heart. It may feel like the person gives without holding back. But if after marriage they keep spending money carelessly outside the home, the generosity may feel like a lack of responsibility. In real life, the reason for marriage often becomes the reason for divorce. This means that a personality that once felt good does not always create good results. When the situation changes, the same force can be read differently. All 6 minds are necessary. We all live with 6 minds. CP, NP, A, FC, AC, and SC. We cannot say that only one of them is good and the others are bad. CP is needed to set standards and take responsibility. NP is needed to embrace and care for someone. A is needed to see facts and make judgments. FC is needed for joy and liveliness to come alive. AC is needed so we can be careful, adjust, and live together with others. SC is needed so we can endure in our own way and rise again. The problem is not whether a certain ego state exists. The problem is whether that ego state always comes out in the same way. Some people always bring out firmness first. Some people always put consideration first. Some people always begin with calculation. Some people always burst out their emotions first. Some people always endure. Some people always insist on their own way. When one mind comes out too often and too automatically, even the original strength of that ego state can gradually become heavy in relationships. This is not because the strength itself is the problem. It is because the same response is always automatically connected to the same place. What makes people struggle is often not the ego state itself. It is the automatic route that has become fixed. High ego states are easy to use, and low ego states are harder to use. An ego state with a high score in the egogram is easy to bring out. That is because it is familiar. That mind may stand at the front, almost like an automatic reflex. In contrast, an ego state with a low score does not come out easily. So even when that mind is needed, the person may not use it well. For example, someone may start judging in a place where warmth is needed. Or someone may keep adjusting in a place where refusal is needed. That is why low ego states need practice. They need to be brought out consciously in everyday life. Low does not immediately mean bad. It means that this energy does not often stand in the front row. And because it is unfamiliar, it may be harder to handle. But high ego states are not simply comfortable. A high ego state is easy to use well, but it is also easy for it to come out even when it should not. So a high ego state needs restraint. As much as skill, the ability to stop must also be developed. Low ego states need practice. High ego states need restraint. This is not a matter of good or bad. It is a matter of when to bring out a familiar mind, when to stop it, and when to call in an unfamiliar mind. Change does not happen all at once. People often ask, can personality change? I believe it can. But a habit of the mind that has been fixed for a very long time does not change easily in a short time. We have responded in familiar ways since childhood. Those habits are often connected to survival. So even if we know in our head, I should do this differently now, when the actual situation arrives, the mind we originally used may come out first. At times like this, people often blame themselves. Why did I react this way again? Why have I still not changed? But shaking in the same place may not mean willpower is weak. It may mean the mind has been wired to return to the same coordinates. So before real change settles in, we first need to practice responses that fit the situation. Trying to refuse when we usually cannot. Pausing instead of getting angry right away. Or saying a small request when we usually only endure. These are all ways of practicing a new ego state. In other words, change is not suddenly becoming a different personality one day. It begins by using the needed mind little by little in a different way and choosing again the response point that used to be automatic. In the end, one thing matters. There is no good personality or bad personality. There's only personality that is used according to the situation and personality that comes out automatically regardless of the situation. High ego states are easy to use well, but they need regulation. Low ego states do not come out easily, but they need practice. So knowing the egogram is not gaining one more standard for judging myself. It is noticing which ego state I use automatically in which situation and how strongly. When that awareness builds, we gradually begin to ask, what mind is truly needed in this situation right now? That question is more important than searching for a good personality. The power that changes a person does not come from labeling. It comes from noticing which force is standing at the front, inside me now. It comes from noticing what comes out too quickly. It comes from noticing what is still called too rarely. From that point on, personality begins to look less like an evaluation sheet. It begins to look more like a map for tuning life in a slightly better direction. The egogram is not a table for judging personality. It is a map for tuning life. Torbit TA does not judge personality as good or bad. Instead, it looks at when, where, and how the 6 ego states are used. All 6 minds are necessary, but some minds may come out too quickly and some minds may not come out even when needed. A high mind needs to learn restraint. A low mind needs to be called little by little through practice. Change is not suddenly becoming a different person. It is noticing the response route that had been automatically connected and choosing the needed mind again in that place. So the egogram is not a table for evaluating me. It is a map for choosing the needed mind again according to the situation.